I could do the same thing over here and take the snare drum and then connect that over to the delay right there. In fact, let's just do that. So I'll disconnect that right now, and I'll bring this in here. And then the output of that guy, I'll bring it up here. Okay, so now we have the kick drum going into the reverb, the snare drum going into the delay, and let's have a listen to what that sounds like. So you can hear the snare drum is being delayed over here. So now, imagine we had all of this filled up. Well, actually, let me go back. The way we inserted these effects with these sources worked out great, right? But let's imagine we're in the hardware world and we only have those two effects. Well, we've kind of used them all, right? If we had a whole mixer full of all these channels and all these sources, how could we put them through these reverb? I mean, it really can't be done if you're using them in the insert routing. So let's flip this back around, and let's go ahead and just take these back to the way they were. Okay, and this guy went up here, and this guy went up here. And let's just talk about aux sends for a minute. If I turn this mixer back around, we're all very familiar with how all of these channels go to the left and right out, right? These guys are routed to this output, and this goes out into our speakers and so on. But on a lot of mixers, you'll find auxiliary sends. Now, it's kind of implied in the wording of the auxiliary send. An auxiliary send just means it's another output of the mixer that goes somewhere. And traditionally, where these little knobs, well, let me actually do this. If I turn this back around, whenever I bring up those knobs, a little bit of that channel will come out here and go somewhere. And typically where that will go is into an effect, or if you're in the live world, you can also use these aux sends right here to go out to your monitor sends, so that you can send varying amounts of each of your channels out to monitors, on-stage monitors, so that musicians can hear themselves. Let's sidestep that for the moment and just talk about aux sends. So here's the deal. Let's take the output of this guy, and I'm going to put it in to the reverb, right? If I flick this back around, that should mean that as I move this up and down, that's going to send a variable amount of this channel out to this guy, and let's see if that actually does it. Here we go. Let me bring it down and just watch this meter down here. Do you see? You can see that this is going out of the aux send and being fed into here, but big deal, we're not hearing any reverb. How come? Well, we haven't completed the loop. So let me tab back around. We have successfully brought the kick drum up here, send it out of an aux loop into this reverb, but then we need to return that reverb back into the mixer. Now you could return it in a few different ways. You could return it into another channel if you like. A lot of mixers will have a dedicated auxiliary return. So let me just take the output right here, and I'll put it into the aux return. Now let's have a listen. Great, we have a bunch of reverb. And we could do the same thing over here by taking the second aux send here and putting that into the delay, and then returning that delay back into the second return. So now all of these channels can send varying amounts to the reverb by using aux send 1, or they can use aux send 2 to go out to the delay right there. Just make sure you're returning